I would say the one thing about having a network is, what do you bring? Mm-hmm. What is it that you bring to the table? Not what they're bringing to the table, because they may have, something of value that you need or that you can utilize. But how am I serving them?
All right, so Darren, I'm gonna start calling you Clark Kent.
Why is that?
So you know how obviously Clark Kent is Superman, and he puts on a pair of glasses, and then nobody instantly can recognize that that's right. Superman. Well, Darren comes suited and booted for our day job, right? But we get to the podcast, he untucks his shirt, like nobody's gonna recognize the fact that.
You know what this is called? It's called being lazy this morning. But this is going.
I know we're at the podcast because Darren will just untuck his shirt real quick. Yeah. Casual Darren.
Yeah, we relax a little bit, man. This is and you fixed the seats.
When you were talking about glasses, I thought you were going, he looks like Mr. Magoo when he puts those glasses on.
Oh no, that would have been
Coke bottle glasses.
That would have been fun too.
My glasses are not Coke bottle glasses.
But it's Woody with the untucked shirt, and then it's Mr. Darren Woodson when it's tucked in.
It's tucked in, big fella. It's all business when it's tucked in.
That's good.
Yeah, you like that, man. You know what? You have no idea.
I think he just said he likes the way you're put together.
Oh, I know.
I kind of like to see
me a compliment.
I kind of like to see the body lines with their shirt tucked in. You know.
Yeah. You guys remember, like, you thinking about Superman? Like, Superman was my
thing.
dude.
That was my.
Oh my God! Thing. Like, everybody talk about Spider-Man and Batman. No. Dude, Superman was the dude. But do you remember him having to get in that telephone booth? I mean, think about how things. He used to get in that telephone booth
with the briefcase too. Sometimes, like, what?
It is spin around and boom.
You don't know what we're talking about.
I have no idea.
He didn't know.
No, he doesn't know.
He didn't know.
He doesn't even know what a telephone booth is.
The Christopher Reeves version of Superman. That's what I grew. Literally, I found my best friend. This is how I moved to Vacaville, and we had this park right across the street. And I literally spent all day, every day at this park. And we had just moved in, and I was like 4.5 years old. These are one of my first memories that I ever had. And I remember playing at the park, and it was back when like the parks were made out of wood, right? It was big, like railroad track wood things, right? And like metal slide and all that. And I remember going down this slide, and this kid comes over, and his kid and his sister, and it was Tim and Laura. And he comes over, and his sister's like, "My brother's Captain America. He can beat you up." I was like, "Excuse me?
Right.
I'm Superman, and I will fly around you. I will shoot you with my laser beams, and then I will stomp on you."
Oh, yeah.
And we were best friends after that.
Best buddies.
I mean, we fought, but we're best friends after that.
I had a buddy that literally, truly convinced me he was a Power Ranger. Like, I believed him 100%. My family still makes fun of me to this day, because I believed him when we were 9 years old that he was a Power Ranger.
How old was he? Is it the same age?
Yeah, same age.
Oh, my God. How are you?
I believed him.
What kind of sales job is he in right now?
I can remember he would go into the closet, say, "I got to transport to whatever." And like, he would go in the closet, close the door. I'd be like, just shocked. Because he had this little coin, this little Power Ranger coin. I'm telling you, I believed him 100%.
What? I mean...
It did. I guess it never connected to me that he's 9. They're all older.
Yeah.
Not 9.
Yeah, Kimberly and Zach, man. They're older.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, he convinced me he was one of the Power Rangers.
Yeah.
So he just stay in the closet, and you're like, he went off and fought Rita or whatever these monsters are.
Well, it would just be a quick transport. He wasn't going long.
Oh, he wasn't going that long?
He'd take care of business real quick.
But I'm just standing there in my room outside of the closet just thinking, like, this is crazy. This guy's transporting the Power Ranger world.
Did he tell you what color he was?
I don't remember. I also remember his grandma lived a couple of houses away from me, and she had this little koi pond. Koi? Is that the fish?
Yeah.
Yes.
This little koi pond in her backyard. And he convinced me there was an alligator in there too. Believed him on that.
Damn, this dude.
He was good.
He was good. What's he doing? What is he doing now? You have
no idea. No idea. Lost contact with him in middle school. Never.
Once you found out he wasn't a Power Ranger.
I was done with him.
This is
no
bullshit.
more lies. Either he was really good salesman or I was just terribly good. Probably both. Terribly
You're
gullible.
most gullible kid in the world.
Oh, another thing he did. This dude was a wealth of lies. He also had a fake cigarette. And I remember the first time he acted, we were like 9.
Yeah.
And we were out at his house and he pulled out this fake cigarette and like acted like he was lighting it and smoking a cigarette. I thought that was
Wasn't the bubblegum one
the most wild thing ever.
That you'd blow the powder through or the flour. Remember the bubble gum that you get at the ice cream truck?
Oh yeah, you put it.
You blow and then the little puff of powder would come out.
Yeah, this dude's a magician now.
Shout out to Corey. Whatever you're doing these days, Corey.
He's carrying a briefcase.
You got my ass
He's
at
on the
9 years old.
He's on the corner right now doing tricks. That's what he's doing.
Speaking of friends and networking,
Yeah.
I can't think of anything worse than networking events. I think I've said this before. Like my personal version of hell is just 24/7 networking events. A room full of people. You got to go do your fake smiles and your cheesy conversations that nobody really cares about, and make friends with people you'll probably never see again for the most part.
Right.
That's one man's perspective.
That is
No, but it's true. But it's true. And especially you and I specifically, it was a little different when you came into the industry that we're doing in commercial real estate. But you and I, we came in and we didn't have that business network, right? We didn't have it. And so you've got to go to these events and you've got to do these things.
They're just awkward.
And it's who can hand their card faster. Okay, hey, let's set a lunch. Oh, yeah, you work for here? Okay, cool. And then you get to whatever this follow-up meeting is, and it's who can sell the other one faster, knowing that neither one of you are buyers. Yeah. Both of you are just selling.
Just a waste of time.
Neither one. And it was round and round and round, and it was just like, oh my gosh. Yeah. And then you get to these deals, and there was one specifically. There's one in like North Dallas, and the guy that runs it makes all of the CEOs, CFOs, and COOs raise their hand, right? And there's like 400 people at these events, right? And you could just literally see everybody go.
Writing
their name down. And then the second that everybody breaks, it's like literally just vultures just on those people. Wow. I'm like, y'all got to know better.
See, I've never gone to those type of
you didn't have
a straight networking event like that.
I don't know if you realize this, but you played 13 years in the NFL. You don't need to go to networking events.
Yeah, well, I guess
you have a network.
Not in that sense. I mean, the networking events that I've been to have been like smaller events where it's a little odd. You don't know the people in the room, but there are people that you want to know, but it's always like an executive type of deal. Not so much like you're saying, like everybody's coming after.
Those are effective, right? Because in the industry, especially as I mature, it's all about relationships, right? And it's all about network. But when it's the speed dating game, there's no context, there's no quality, there's no connection, there's none of that. Now, if you've got I'm a part of one up in Frisco, Plano, and like a wealth manager's put it together, and he's been really intentional saying, hey, like I'm not having any duplicates of any industry, right? And we're not necessarily saying, hey, you are going to get business from him. There's like 12 of us that are in it. We meet every month, and it's okay, but who do you know in your network? Who do you know in your network? Yeah, right. And now knowing exactly, and we each give presentations on what we do so the group can understand, okay, what do you really truly do and what's the value that you can bring to somebody? And there's just been a lot of organic business that's come from that because it's now we've gotten to know each other for we've been doing it for 2 years, and we've gotten to know each other well enough that it's like, I'm rooting for you, so how can I help you?
Right.
And I'm rooting for you. And these people that I had never met.
So has it changed because you've gotten to know some of them on a personal level?
100%.
Okay.
100%. Yeah. Because here's the deal is when you refer someone, unless they've actually done business for you, or if they provided a service for you and they've killed it and executed it, everybody, you're really hesitant to refer somebody.
Absolutely.
Because it's your name associated with it. But if you really, truly, whether I've done business with you or not, but I've gotten to know the person, I've gotten to know them deep, I know your family, I know your background, I know your story. Now I'm more inclined to say, look, heck yeah, I'm going to put you in front of this. Okay, hey, you do health benefits. Hey, I've got a client that I know that their benefit package is up in April, and they mentioned that they're looking for a new group to go with. I really want to connect you guys. Right. And it's an easy to do. And that to me is if you're going to network, but what you're talking about, right?
Yeah.
You've got 37 cards in the front pocket of your suit jacket, right? Yeah. And you go at 7:30 a.m. because networking's from 7:30 to 8 a.m. and you fill up with 3 coffees, and then you go through the buffet line, and then you sit down, and then you hear a former Survivor speaker tell their story excruciatingly for 30 minutes. And then it's one more networking group, and then you're back to the office at 9:30. It's a nightmare. Yeah. I'm with you.
No, and so I guess that's where my mind goes first when I think of networking.
Yeah.
And utilizing your network. But despite, those awkward networking events, what I realized and the discussion I want to have today is that I actually have a network that is a lot more beneficial than that. And that's the people that I know.
Right.
And the relationships that I've built. So what I'm hoping to learn from you guys today, Darren, you have an interesting perspective because a lot of times people will come to you looking for something, whereas I'm on the other side of the coin. Typically, nobody's coming to me. It's typically me having to build relationships and seeing how I can utilize my network in an effective way. And so that's what I want to explore today is what's the best way to approach your network? Maybe I don't know 15 famous people. But I know people that can help me progress and help me accomplish the things that I'm looking to accomplish. But how do I approach them without, always taking?
Yeah. Right.
And how do I feed into that relationship as opposed to just taking all the time? Yeah. So that's what I wanted to explore today. But before we get there, speaking of networking, restaurants are a great place to network.
Yes.
Am I right about that?
Yes, they are.
And a place that you can go find some great restaurants is Choctaw Casino and Resort. They've got 1832 Steakhouse. They've got Guy Fieri's American Kitchen and Bar. They've got a brand new one opening up here soon, the Reserve. Yeah. And I wanted to read you the description of the Reserve because it sounds awesome. Step into the Reserve for an experience that will raise you high bar. Well, there's a typo.
Yeah, there it is.
That will raise your high bar of expectation. From the moment you walk in, you'll see why this is the new, cool place to relax and recharge. Here, our bartenders are true artisans. They take pride in each handcrafted cocktail they slide in front of you. So if you're looking for a place to network, Choctaw Casino Resort, head north up to Durant, Oklahoma.
And we went and we walked the Reserve.
It's sweet.
Sweet.
Yeah. It's going to be awesome.
One of the best steakhouse, probably one of the best steakhouses in Dallas. In the Durant for one, but it's compared to a lot of steakhouses here.
Yeah, I can get there and just as fast as I can get to South Dallas or downtown Dallas for a steakhouse down there.
And I'm going to throw this out there. I'm not going to use names, but a highly prominent Dallas steakhouse staple.
Yeah,
this steakhouse is being run by someone that was in management that was at that establishment. Yeah. Right. So highest quality people. So
go visit Choctaw Casino and Resort if you're looking for a place to network, which is what we're talking about today. So when you think of your personal network, what's the first? I have something in my mind that I would think of if I was wanting to utilize my network in an effective way. What's the first thing you would do?
My personal network, I'm going to protect them.
Okay.
That's the first thing I'm going to do. I'm going to surround. Look, I think you need to take ownership of your personal network. You don't want to just, and Tyler just said it earlier, you don't want to just be making introductions to your personal network that aren't beneficial in some way. Because I don't know how many times I've been in personal situations where someone has introduced me unknowingly to someone and it was just a terrible situation. Like, I don't ever want to put my network or anyone in my network in a bad situation because whose name is on it? It's my name on it.
Right.
They carry that. So always want to be in protect mode. I would say the one thing about having a network is, what do you bring? What is it that you bring to the table? Not what they're bringing to the table, because they may have something of value that you need or that you can utilize, but how am I serving them? That's the number one thing about having a network.
So before we get there, go ahead.
No, I'm going to piggyback. So if you're going to pivot before that,
well, before we get there to that step, I feel like there's the very first thing you can do when you're thinking about your network is write it down.
Oh.
So he asked you the question, hoping you'd answer it.
Yeah. And you totally went somewhere.
You didn't give him what he wanted.
Exactly.
It was a poor question.
Write it down.
Hey, I'll take full ownership. It was a poor question.
It was.
What I was hoping you would say is, hey, when I'm thinking about my network, what's the first thing? I need to write out who's in my network.
But that's
who are the people in my network?
That is huge because one, I think you've got to understand it, right? And I know with us, if you're not writing down, for example, okay, hey, look, what my strategy for the day is, what my strategy for the week is, you tend to get lost, right? Whether you follow it by a calendar or you are a list guy, whatever it is, you get lost. So how can you expect to stay engaged and to stay connected with your network if you don't know who they are, right? Life is busy. I mean, with best friends, it's hard enough to stay in contact with. But if you've got a network, it's like, hey, I've got to nurture these relationships because I know I can add value to them, like you said, or I know that, hey, in the future, they may be a good partner for something. There may be something that we can really collaborate on to build something special. Yeah. So if you don't know who those people are, how are you touching those people? How are you continuing to stay connected? So I agree with you. I think that's got to be the first step. But then to your point, when I got into sales and I left football and got into commercial real estate brokerage where I'm going and trying to build relationships. Right. My dad was in sales for 30 plus years with SBC or Southwestern Bell, Pacific Bell, SBC, AT&T, like telecommunications. And the thing that he said, he goes, look, I'm going to make it really simple. I'm not going to give you this whole sales thing. I'm not going to, he says, before I ever try to sell anything, I give something and I serve. So I'm going to go solve a problem before I ever even try to talk about what I do, talk about the services I have, what they can sell, submit an RFP, whatever it is. I go and I fix a problem for them.
Right.
That's the first thing I do. So serve your network.
Right.
That's got to be. So establish it and then figure out, okay, hey, what value can I bring to them? Not because and not for the fact of, hey, if I do something for them, then they owe me. Right. Not that.
Right.
Because people see through that.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So let's break this down for a second because I'm a little slower and dumber than you two. This is a foreign concept.
You're
to
not
me.
getting an argument. There's no argument.
No argument there. Yeah. This is a foreign concept to me. I'd never thought about doing something like this. So when I first got into real estate, the advice I was given was literally, hey, write down everybody that you know.
Right.
Who do you have a relationship with? What do they do? How can they potentially help you and serve you in this new job that you're about to go to? Right. So that's what I did. I wrote down every single person that I knew. But then I was stuck. And Tyler, you said, figure out a way that you could serve them. But I didn't know how I could serve these people. Right. So what do I do there? How do I know how to serve people?
How to serve is you've got to find out what the problem is. And that was going to be my next point. In order to serve, you've got to connect with them genuinely and ask questions and get to know them. Because we do it all the time. When we talk to potential tenants, potential clients, is we want to understand what the pain points are. Like, the more we talk, and without saying, hey, what do you hate about your space right now? Or what's going on? It's, hey, man, how are you guys operating? How's this? Is hiring great? Asking questions to them so that you can then gather information. It may not be a direct, like, hey, I've got this problem and I can't solve it. You just hear things. And then also kind of knowing the value that you can bring is, okay, I understand that. I hear that. Okay, this is great. Oh, you know what? You're having trouble hiring. Well, tell you what, I'm gonna put together a labor survey and show you where the available labor for the types of jobs that you're hiring.
You're paying it for.
And I'm gonna send it over to you, and this is gonna help you. And if it's of interest, we can dig in further, and then I'll help you identify house by house where this labor market is, and then you can go find them.
Yeah,
I'll do it for you.
At what point do you broach that? Because you're one of the best at this that I know. At what point are you broaching this discussion? So let's say you wrote down a name and it's somebody, maybe it's a friend's dad that you have a good relationship with. You don't see each other that often, but you want to call them up. You want to take them to lunch. At what point in the relationship are you bringing up this opportunity that you can solve a problem for him? Or is it? I think. And I think there's no black and white answer. I get it.
You're looking for.
I'm just asking for some guidance for people who have never done this before.
Look, you know how to network, man. Your character networks for you. Yeah. Like your true character, that's your network, right? I mean, that's the foundation of your network. If you have true character, and it doesn't matter. I don't think you have to look. writing down things is one thing. I think that's the best way to go about it, and writing down a list. But your true friends, your real friends, they're going to know your character, right? Mm-hmm. That's where you start. That's your base, right? So I would say this. Always take care of that first relationship that you have, whether it's your best friend that you grew up with as a kid. Always keep those relationships. A lot of the rest of the network spins off of those relationships, right? Mm-hmm. So it might be his dad. His dad may know you and know your character, and that's an easier conversation to have, right? I'm serious. I think we're making this like most of the. I'll go with this. Most of the people have problems stepping outside of themselves. Mm-hmm. They get, I don't want to go. I don't want to ask Tim's dad a favor for, something. Tim's dad probably he's known you forever, right? What's wrong with asking him, hey, look, I'm involved in commercial real estate. I'd like to get to, I want to just sit down with you and have a conversation and ask for some advice. One of the things that people will love to do is mentor and give you advice, especially people that are older than you. Like I've had people young kids ask me, and I'm like, man, you really want my... Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I'll never ask you
all day. But I'm just saying, like, people want to help.
Yeah.
So I think we need to. You can put a list together and go through that list, but just know that your character and who you are. If you've been an asshole all your life, well then, damn, dude.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Yeah.
But if your character has shown and you know that you have a strong character, this is a lot easier process. And stop worrying about, well, I'm going to ask his dad for such and such or ask his friend for such and such. No, man, they'll give it to you.
Yeah. And this is going back, honestly. That's a great point. This is going back to, if there's any high schoolers that are listening to this right now, it really is. It does matter what you do today.
Absolutely.
It matters the person that you represent. It matters how you treat people. It matters how you follow through with the things that you say you're going to do. It matters your work ethic. It matters. Everything matters. So don't underestimate that, because even unintentionally, that network can take care of you. And I've told this story a million times, but because of, and it was like third layer network, because my special teams coach's wife's former clients, who is a scout's former colleague.
Mm-hmm. That's a lot.
I'm telling you.
Following you on that one.
So special teams coach in college.
Write it on the wall.
His wife, I know, diagram. Special teams coach in college. His wife was my agent, who had an agent who was a long snapper at Fresno State, who was a scout at the Houston Texans, who coached alongside Josh McDaniels. Mm-hmm. Okay. And then who then was the running back coach at the UFL when I was there. Okay. That layer right there, because I played my ass off for the special teams coach, because I treated the agent, she told the long snapper, who was the scout at the Houston Texans, who then that guy called, because he played at Fresno State. He called his former colleague at the Houston Texans, was like, hey, what do you think about this guy? He goes, oh my gosh, my former agent and special teams coach all love him. I watched him at Fresno State. You need to give him a shot. Yeah. There's layers and layers to the network because of the character that you portray day in and day out.
Let me give you the opposite of that. And I'm not going to say names here, but I've played with two guys in particular that played at really high levels in the NFL. Mm-hmm. And because of the way they've treated people over the years, they struggle. They struggle in the business world. They want to get in the business world, but it doesn't matter what you did. If you were an asshole back then, people don't forget.
100%.
And that's the part of it, man. Like, just networking starts from, again, it's your, who are you and as your character. If you're an ass, people are going to remember that. And it always seems to come back around at some point. If you did somebody wrong, somebody's going to be like, hey.
That's right.
Here it is. I'm not giving you anything.
It's really, really hard to overcome those first impressions, those first experiences. Because there's a guy, that's exactly right, that I played with, that had called me about business and was like, sorry, man, I don't want to hear anything about it.
Exactly. And I'm not introducing you to
And no? Oh, yeah. And yeah, trust me. And people also see through the see through even if you're a decent dude, but people see through the self-serving requests, right? Hey, can you introduce me to your network? Nah.
Right.
Like, I'm sorry, but like you said, I've got to protect my network.
Protect your name.
I'm not gonna put you. I can't tell you how many guys, and there's some good guys out there. How many guys have taken me to lunch and, hey, I'm putting together this group that's going to teach former athletes to invest.
Right.
And so if they invest with us, we'll coach them and we'll do this because everybody gets taken advantage of. Okay, so what do you get out of it? I mean, equity in the deals. Okay, so you're taking advantage of their money now?
Right, yeah.
So okay. So, if you just put together a group of 10 to 15 athletes, you could do it too. Okay, so now you're asking me to take advantage of my network too. Yeah, no, not interested.
Yeah.
And so people see through that stuff.
Yeah. What I liked what you said, Darren, is that it really, there's a base foundation that you have to establish, which is the type of person that you are.
Yeah.
I relate everything to the fitness world. Just that's the lens that I see a lot of things through. And it's, somebody tells me they're low on energy and they want to drink caffeine or they want to take supplements. And my first question is, well, how do you sleep? What things are you taking care of, with your nutrition? So those are foundational things that they should be fixing first, as opposed to just looking for the supplement that's going to fix it. Right. What you're saying is, hey, quit looking for the right question to ask or, the right person. Be a good person first.
Just be a man.
Take care of that. That's the biggest rock that you can take care of first,
yeah.
is being a good human being. That's going to set the foundation for how well your network wants to serve
how many
you.
people are going to come to you just by being a good person, man.
Yeah.
How many things are going to come your way?
Yeah. And maybe to speak to the younger generation, right? Like building your brand, right? As an individual, what do you want your brand to represent?
Yeah.
Who do you want to be? When people say, Nick Stevens, right? What does Nick Stevens mean to that network? What is that brand that you've built as an individual?
Right.
And it's really, really important. Really important. And the other thing too, I think to go back is understanding your network. Not everybody's in sales. Not everybody has this outside network. Sometimes that network can be within the organization too. Maybe you're not an external salesman. You've got to look at your network within as well. How are you taking care of and how are you adding value to your team and your network? Yeah. You want new opportunities to come your way. Take care of your colleague. Make sure that you're treating them right so that more and more business or more and more opportunities or more and more whatever it is come to you because you're treating your internal network. Right. Make sure you understand what that is and really what your value. Because look, there's people that are great in business development, and then there's people that are great at executing. Yeah. Kind of understand kind of who you are and what that network around it is, because there's a ton of value. I'm telling you, there's not enough executors. Everybody wants to go out and sell.
Yeah.
Right? There's not enough executors in the workplace today.
Yeah. Yep.
So understand what that network is and take care of that.
One of the things, and I know I don't want to get off script here.
There's no script, bro.
There's no script.
We've been off it since minute 30 seconds.
Since we started talking about Superman.
So we started talking about Power Rangers.
I would say that, yes. I would say that I think Tyler and I are so involved in so many different charities, right? And on this show, we always come back to serving, right?
Literally every episode.
Every episode, right? So I don't know how many times I've been at a United Way function or a Make-A-Wish function and have done things just because I wanted to be there. Like just wanted to be there. Not that I was expecting anything out of it, but I wanted to be there. I wanted to serve, and I wanted to give time. Like just your time means so much more. You don't have to donate your own money or whatnot. Just show up and give your time. And people will see that.
Yeah. Think about, and you've been on both sides of it, is you get paid to come in and speak.
Yeah, right.
But think about when you do that, right? So you go up and speak on a stage, you come off, and typically there's a line of people that want to talk to you, right? Think about the connection with all of those people. I mean, and I'm not saying it's always the case, but typically those are not the CEOs, business owners, right? But think about when you go, donate your time, be a part of it, and are there really just for support? Think about the relationships that come out of that. right? It's different.
Yeah, it is.
And when you're up on stage, you're paid to be there. The connection is one thing. But when you're there, you immerse yourself in it, and you are just like, it's so different.
That's the difference, man. I'm telling you, because here goes time again. I've done a speech. Maybe it's a paid speech. I've done the speech. I've gotten done. How many times have people just, I did my job, I'm out. I'm done. Now that, to me, that's when you lose. Like you really want to build who you are and show character. You stick around and you engage and have conversation. People will always remember that. I've done speech. I just did one the other day, and just think about my LinkedIn, how it just popped off. People were hitting, and you and I saw it on the Instagram. People were reaching back out.
Instagram, not LinkedIn.
No, even on my LinkedIn as well. So on LinkedIn and my Instagram, you didn't have it anymore. So, but
I'm out of the
engagement, just because I took the time after,
that's
what
sit down remember.
People remember that, man, and that's character.
All right. So again, the way my brain works, I'm processing this as you guys are speaking, because you guys are really good at it. I'm processing all this. So what I'm hearing is, I need to be a good person, number one, first and foremost. Absolutely. I need to set the foundation with who I am. Yeah. And people need to genuinely like me. That's the first thing. Now, I can't force that. It's just my character, right? Yeah. And then number two, probably writing down a list is good, just so I don't forget anybody. I'm thinking about everybody that I know.
That's the follow-up aspect.
So,
of it, right?
So I've done those things, right? I've put all that together. Darren, you just talked about this in a Feel Good Friday. You had a relationship with Jerry Jones. And you could have easily utilized that relationship, but you didn't. You said you always felt a little weird about going to him. You didn't want to, you felt there was a boss. So how do I get over that initial discomfort and break that seal of going from friend where we got a great relationship to now I'm hoping that they can help me in some way, shape, or form?
I think you got to build the relationship. Like, look, I mentioned that about Jerry Jones. I was playing football. I was one of the players, and he was the owner. I didn't feel comfortable.
But some players did, right?
Yeah, some players did. Yeah. Some players felt comfortable.
So how did you get over that discomfort?
Well, I think, first of all, I looked at it as I'm in a business relationship with this man. Like, I am a football player. He's the owner of the team. I didn't need to utilize. I didn't feel like I felt comfortable utilizing at that time. Now, when I moved on, because we had built a strong relationship, I never asked him for a whole lot. When I moved on and went into the business world, it was a lot easier because he was wishing me the best when I walked out of the door. He was like, hey, you're going to do damn well. And if you need anything, and when he said, if you need anything, when I was exiting out that building, I was like, oh yeah, I know I'm going to need some things. But he trusted me. He absolutely trusted me. Yeah. In knowing my character. And when I left, I was like, hey, there were times where I thought, okay, if I need something, I'm going to reach back out. And I had no problem doing so because I knew the foundation I left with Jerry Jones. I knew there was a trust back and forth. So I didn't have a problem reaching back out later on when I needed to talk to an attorney in the oil and gas industry. When I needed a referral for a couple of things. I had no problems reaching back out.
Because you weren't constantly taking.
I wasn't
How can I use Jerry?
I wasn't asking for things back then. I wasn't, again, if you're just taking all the damn time, at some point, even a kid, like if your son or your daughter is taking and asking, come on, dad, you're like, hey, look, at some point, look, what's in it? It's innate in us to figure out, what's in it for me as well? And I never wanted to be that guy that was just taking from the Jones family. Hey, if I can provide, I used to speak for the Jones family for Salvation Army on my own time. Wasn't getting paid. I showed up, and to this day, I'm still volunteering for Salvation Army because I'm representing not only Salvation Army, but I'm representing the Dallas Cowboys and the Jones family. It's just what I do, and I don't expect anything out of it. But they see that and they recognize that.
And this isn't, when I say this term, I'm not talking like romantic or anything, but selflessness is one of the most attractive traits that people look for. I mean, whether it's in a significant other or a business partner or a friend, whatever it is, if somebody is genuinely selfless, that just draws people around you, and ultimately that draws opportunities. And so from a networking standpoint, character, selflessness, all those things are really important when you're talking about a network and taking advantage of a network is really kind of the wrong terminology, but understanding your network and optimizing that network is so foundationally important that you are the right person, because then you don't have to go out and sell. When you are genuinely taking care of other people, not expecting anything in return, you will find more opportunities in front of you than you know what to do with.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, Darren, let's flip it on you, because you are in a position, as I said earlier, that you get approached quite a bit. I'm assuming a lot of people you probably don't even know try to approach you and ask you for things. So if somebody's going to come up to you, let's say they don't know you, and maybe I'm going down the wrong path here. Maybe you guys have never networked with anybody that you didn't know. I don't know. Okay, so let's go down that. So somebody doesn't know you. How can they approach you in a way?
Somebody doesn't know me. I don't know them.
You don't know them.
Okay.
How can they approach you in a way that makes you want to help them? Because this is huge, especially in our world today where we have access to everybody. I can now shoot you a DM that I couldn't 10, 15 years ago.
Yeah.
And ask you for something. So I
think it depends.
What's the best way to approach?
I think it's dependent on what you're asking for.
Yeah.
It really is. I think there's level to what you're asking for. If you're asking me for an introduction to Mark Cuban, I'm not giving you. I'm sorry.
So have some awareness of what you're asking.
Trust me, and I get those all the time. I'm like, damn, I barely know Mark Cuban. Help a brother
People
get
ask you to introduce them.
Oh, brother, all the time. Hey, can you get me in front of Jerry Jones? I'm like,
Who are you?
Yeah, I'm sorry, brother.
I'm gonna be honest, man. The awareness level of the general public, I think.
So this is good. We're having this discussion then.
Yes, because
there's people listening to us right now who don't have awareness, I guess.
Hey, I want to get on the field of the game.
it's just like,
hey, can I wear a helmet during a game? Can you get me a uniform?
It's
out there.
It's
and you know it,
dude,
Tom.
I'm like,
you brought it up.
It makes my skin crawl sometimes, because it's like, do you have that little awareness? Like, that is your approach. It's like, okay, so you either are selling multi-level marketing to me right now.
No, I don't need Herbalife.
Or that's the business you came from, and that's your approach, because that level is ask, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, if you don't ask, you don't get, right?
Have some awareness. Like, I don't know you, but then I'm going to ask for this huge ask. Yeah. And if I ask enough people, someone will say yes. No, guess what? Nobody's going to say yes. It doesn't matter if you ask 1,000 famous people to get connected to somebody. Yeah. No, if you don't have a connection, and that's the biggest thing. I think, to your point, and I'm gonna partly answer it on your behalf, is you've got to do the diligence to make that separation smaller.
Yes. Yeah.
Right? So if you just shoot a DM on Instagram and you're asking for something, it's probably very unlikely that I'm going to respond to it. If there's not some sort of connection, right? And we talk about this all the time. If we're cold calling a client, you've got to make it not a cold call. It's got to be a warm call. Somehow there's got to be a connection. Hey, we have mutual friends and this. I'm not asking for a whole lot. This is, I'll do all the legwork. I'll get it all done. Yeah. I just need your signature on a letter that I'm going to write for you as a referral. Here's who I am. Here's the people that we know in common, whatever it is. Or, okay, instead of doing DMs, then it's, okay, email's kind of the next level. Yeah. And I'm a vice president of a company. I'm not making any decisions, right? And I get technology companies and CRM softwares and this every day, and I'm not going to respond to you. You made no connection to me. There's nothing personal there. So then the next level is, okay, if I know someone that knows you, that I trust, that will vouch for me, that knows this person, okay, that's the next level. Like, okay, hey, I want to make the three of us, we're going to go grab coffee. I know it's busy. It's hard to get together. Yep. That's the next level. The next level is figure out a way to serve and do some diligence on the front end, do some work on the front end, and then you have something to present, and you've taken the initiative off the start. That's if someone, I don't even know them, but you've done the research. Hey, okay, you're telling me if someone said, hey, I know Judea does Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Guess what? I just went and I had this custom seamstress make this killer gi for him. Right. You're telling me that you wouldn't be like, damn, that was a lot of effort, man. I appreciate that.
Yeah, put the work in.
Yeah. What? Okay, that's cool. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
So there's things that like you can do to close the gap to make it more personal. It blows my mind that people will just ask for things.
You know what? I will say this too. I have a friend. He's a really good networker, but he's very personable, strong character guy. But the things he will do, so he does sometimes that I've learned from him over the years is he'll ping me every once in a while and just say, "Hey man, just checking in on you, brother. How you doing?" That's it. Didn't want nothing. Mm-hmm. And I picked that up. This is about 6 years ago. I picked it up, but he had been doing it for so long. Hey, don't want nothing, man. Just checking in on you. Boom. Like that is very, and I'm not saying it's strategic, but I am saying it's
effective.
It's very effective because he's not asking me for anything. He just asking me, hey, and he's going to say, hey man, how's Tiffany? How's Judea? How's it? Blah, blah, blah. Once you start doing the little things, it's just feeling like you said, Tyler, you're closing the gap. Like I'm going to ask you not just how you're doing, Ben, but how the kids doing? How's Whit doing?
Yeah.
Like that's how you stay connected to your network.
Yeah. The struggle when you're young, at least the struggle that I experienced when I was young in the business, especially, was I was trying to make it and I was desperate.
Yeah.
Right. And so every decision I made was out of desperation as opposed to trying to fuel and feed into somebody.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so my asks would be out of desperation.
Yeah.
Because I am trying to get something. I am trying to advance. I am trying to, increase my salary or increase my income.
Right.
So that's not to me, that wasn't a healthy mentality to take in because I was, hey man, I'm not asking. Well, actually I am asking for something because I need something.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, so, and I hate that I had that mentality and it took me out of my character because I was desperate. I was trying to grow. I was trying to advance, if you will.
And you're right? That's a tough balance for someone that's early in their career or transitioning or something like that because there is an immediate need knowing that the long game is the right way to do it, right? And having patience and taking time, just connecting with people, making them feel like, okay, I'm thinking about you, you're important. That's the right way to do it, but it's real. It is. So this isn't necessarily a networking tip, but make sure whatever you're doing, you believe in, and you believe that there's value that you bring to somebody so that when you do reach out, you know that you are bringing a service that person needs, right? So if you're, if you're selling hats and you're calling, a technology company, I don't know if that's really a service, right? That they're going to need, you know what I mean? But like, if you sell hats and you've got a sporting goods store that like, hey, we're short on hats. Like, okay, I know I can bring a good service to you. I mean, that's a dumb example, but believe in what you are offering. But again, if you can do something on the front end to help them first and foremost, that expedites that relationship. Okay, my gosh, like that's really awesome that he did that labor study for me. Yeah. Or that's awesome that he did a market analysis for me. That's awesome that he did these things that now I don't have to do. Now, you know what? Okay, let's talk about planting a new office or a new distribution center. Let's have that conversation because I know you've already done the work. But to me, going and doing something without being asked that adds value is the fastest way to get your foot in the door when you're just starting out. Right? All the while nurturing those long-term relationships. I'm 5 years into the business. I'm just now 5 years in seeing things come back that I've been nurturing for 5 years.
You planted those seeds.
Yes, 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And it's really hard for someone that's coming into the business to hear that.
Yeah. It's really hard.
One tip I would give to anyone out there that's looking to network is put yourself in that person's shoes that you're reaching out to.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like if you're a person that's not willing, people ask you for favors and you're not willing to give or budge or take the time, then put yourself in that person's shoes that you're about to ask a favor for. Mm-hmm. Because once you can take yourself, and we always say distancing, once you can distance yourself a little bit and say, okay, how am I reacting to requests? Mm-hmm. That's basically your gauge right there. And look, if people were asking me for favors and I'm like, kiss my ass, I ain't doing that, then don't expect. anything from someone when you ask them for something.
That's right.
So again, character it starts with that foundation, man. Get to know who you are first, and then spring out from there.
That's exact. I couldn't agree more. And also too, talking to that early young professional or someone that's trying to build something up, start small, right? Don't feel like in real estate you got to go take on 100,000 square foot office lease right off the bat, right? Or you're not successful. Start with someone that's looking for a co-working space. Yeah. Start with someone that's got a 1,500 square foot office. Start with the small things, because we have a client that was in less than 3,000 square feet, and this client in a year and a half time has hired 1,500 employees internationally.
Yeah.
And it's like, you never know. So
wait a minute. So I gotta tell this, and we're gonna end on this one, right? And I know
this is a network story. This is a
real story. So look, for those that are listening, one of our clients that Tyler's talking about right now, there was nothing there. Absolutely nothing there. And I, on one hand, was like, I don't think this.
But take us how we got there, though. Like how we got to the table.
Okay, we got there through a friend relationship that trusted me,
trusted you, but you also trusted,
and that I also trusted as well. Really good friend from way back. He and I had known each other. We've done business together. We've gotten to know each other's families and whatnot. He made the initial. He put the initial meeting together. I brought Tyler along for that initial meeting with this group. Small group. I didn't know how much was going to be there. And this speaks to who Tyler is. And this is the reason, like we always talk about building teams and bettering yourself, right? I mean, this is just, I'm just saying, this is how my life has worked. I've always wanted to surround myself with good people. And this is, I'm going to give you some love here, Tyler, but Tyler took it upon himself, for the first time. He took it upon himself to nurture this relationship. Like, this is a relationship that just, there wasn't nothing there, but they were asking for a lot, and he kept on just pouring back into them. And he continued to plant this seed over the last 3 years now?
Yeah, almost,
Almost 3 years, planting this seed when there was nothing there. And I'm looking at him like, dude, they ain't doing shit. They're not going to move forward. He continued to plant the seed. And I'm just telling you, if I didn't see it, but if you're listening to this show, if you could just continue to work with people, even when you're not getting anything out, even when you're just serving and continuing to serve, you're not seeing anything, at some point those flowers are going to sprout, brother. And it doesn't always happen. It may not be what you're working on right then and there that's going to sprout. Maybe you're laying these seeds that something else is going to come about. But because he continued to pour into this and give his time and pour his resources in it, now we're starting to see the fruit of that labor. And that's for anyone that's out there, specifically kids that are out there. Just, take the selfishness out and just pour into folks sometimes. And it may not be direct, but it may be indirectly you're going to benefit from.
And it takes time.
It does.
But I promise you put it in, it will be so much more fulfilling on that side, right? Yeah. When you get there, because we feel like we're a part of that family. We feel like we're part of the team. So now we're rooting for their success, and they just continue to grow, and they call their company family members, right? Yeah. And they continue to grow family members. And it's just so awesome to see. But the biggest thing with this networking is because on this topic is that meeting was set by a friend of Darren that he knew a long time ago that trusted Darren. Darren trusted him because, like you said, people ask all the time of Darren. But, okay, I trust you. You trust me. Yeah. Okay, I'll take the meeting.
And that's the thing. We didn't have time. I didn't have time on my hands to take that meeting, really.
It was a Saturday morning at like 8 a.m.
But my buddy was like, hey, man. And I was like, okay. Like, I trusted him enough to say, yeah, all right, we'll make this work.
Yeah. And it was, but that is the fruit of having a community, having network. And you never know where within that network, and everybody that's listening right now, you have a network. There is a group of people that are your biggest cheerleaders, and you just need to continue to nurture those relationships, have conversations, make sure that you know what they have going on in your life, and in return, they'll ask you to share what's going on, and you will both figure out ways to help each other. But if you are just so focused on, I got to do what I got to do me, I got to do this, you miss out on so many opportunities. And you're constantly going to have to build from scratch new relationships, new opportunities. That's why I look at some of these people, and nothing against it, but our industry, they just 100 calls a day, just cold call. I'm like, you're literally starting from scratch every single time. Where I'm working my approach is I'm working my tail off to make sure that I'm serving the people that I have and that they trust me so that they refer me in. So now I don't have to start over. Yeah. It's a quick, oh my gosh, hey, you're from here? Oh, that's awesome. That's great. I was there. Okay, cool. What can I do to help you? It's not a, hey, my name is Tyler Klutz, and I do commercial real estate. I'd love to talk to you about your office lease, and we can save you 20% on your overall spend on real estate, and we can negotiate incentives, and it would just be a great relationship all around. That's how I cold call, by the way.
I'm writing this down. That was good.
But you know what I mean?
I'm in.
I'll take it.
That's your voice.
I'll take it. But it makes life so much easier from a professional growth standpoint when you have this network that you have nurtured that just wants to continue to help you because you want to do the same for them.
Right.
Amen. No better way to end it there.
All right.
Speaking of networking, and if we are providing value, if you feel we are providing value to you by listening, the best thing that you can do for us, the most helpful thing you can do for us is share these episodes, share the podcast, whether it's taking a screenshot and post it on your Instagram, whether it's texting it to a group chain of your buddies. Sharing this is really helpful to us, and we really appreciate you guys that have done that so far. Have a great rest of the week.